What is going on, Man Hour Nation? Super excited to get to rock with you tonight. My name's Shay. I'll be your host. Thank you for joining us today. Let's go ahead, jump right in and get started. Before we jump in, head over to manhourradio.com. That's where you'll find exclusive merch, fresh blogs, and everything happening with the show. If you're rocking with Man Hour, this is the place to be. Make sure you like and share the show, subscribe so you never miss a show. That's the easiest way to stay plugged in with us. Want the full experience? Become a Pigskin Pundit, our members-only community. You'll get free entry into weekly NFL pick'ems, giveaways, exclusive merch, and bonus live streams only for the pundits. If you're all about that next level access, join the squad. And remember, this is a live interactive show. Drop your thoughts, your opinions, and your hot takes down below in the comments. We want to hear from you. So with that said, Man Hour Nation, let me know that you're here. Let me know that you're rocking with us today. And today's stream is going to be a little controversial. Today's stream is going to be a little wild, and I want to talk about a couple things, but the two things we're really going to highlight today are the Denver Broncos, running backs, and busted up teams. You heard that right. The Denver Broncos, running backs, and busted up teams. So without further ado, we're going to jump right into it. So it's time to talk about a team that we've let slide under the radar for far too long, Man Hour Nation. A team with an offense, to be honest with you, that ranks in the top 5 in passing at 2,421 yards, top 5 in rushing with 1,345 on the ground, a top 5 defense, and, dare I say it, a Hall of Fame coach in Sean freaking Payton. You know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the Denver Broncos. With that said, let's talk about Bo Nix. Let's talk about Courtland Sutton. Let's talk about R.J. Harvey and the offense and how they are humming. The defense is playing some very complimentary football, and Sean Payton is one of the best to ever coach the game. It's going to be a blast. Let's jump right into it. The Broncos, they've won 8 in a row, and here's the deal, guys. They're not slowing down. They had back-to-back losses in week 2 and 3 against a hot Colts team and an overachieving Chargers team at the time, and then they took a step back, and they look inward. They looked at themselves, and they decided, hey, it's time to go to work. That work has earned them 8-game winning streak, and I don't think it's going to end there. They're getting ready to go on a bye week, and they just orchestrated a fantastic statement win against the Kansas City Chiefs. And that game had playoff indications written all over it. In a game where both quarterbacks threw for nearly 300 yards, the game was decided by who could get in field goal range. Will Lutz was a shining star for the Denver Broncos. He made 5 field goals, accounting for 15, you heard that right, 15 of their 22 points. The defense came up big in the third when Jaquan McMillan picked off Patrick Mahomes. This team from the top down is looking pretty sharp. They're looking dominant, and I honestly don't know if they're going to slow down at all. In a game where Patrick Mahomes still showed flashes of his heroics, the defense stood strong. The offense had some strategic ground game to get Lutz in a field goal range, and that sealed the game for the best team in the NFL. For the best team in the NFL. You heard that right. We're talking the Denver Broncos. We are talking the Denver freaking Broncos, baby. So let's talk about the remaining schedule. Here's the remaining schedule. Are you ready for this? After they won against the Kansas City Chiefs, the Broncos are about to head into a late bye week. And here's the time for them to get rested, healthier, and focus on how to finish the season, remaining as the top seed, not just in the AFC, but in the whole NFL. That's right, the whole NFL. After their Week 12 bye, the Broncos have a chance to run the table. Yes, I said that. Run the table with their remaining schedule, putting them at 15-2 at the end of the season. Now, I could be getting ahead of myself, Man Hour Nation, but let's take a look at the remaining games. They got at Vegas to take on the Raiders after their bye week. That's a dub. Green Bay at Denver. I hate to say it as a Packers fan, that's a dub. Jacksonville at Denver in December, dub. Kansas City at Kansas City. I may deem this one a loss, and the Chargers to close out the season, that's a dub. So realistically, I'm saying they're ending the season at 14-3. The only reason, hear me out, the only reason I give the Chiefs the second match is purely off of coaching. Andy Reid knows how to adjust. Andy Reid knows how to go back to look at what they did well, what they didn't do well, and how they can fix their scheme and the way they attack on offense, on defense, and on special teams to prevent a sweep this year. So realistically, I think the Denver Broncos will end the season at 14-3, making them the number 1 seed. Here's the deal. The bye week is coming at a fantastic time for the Denver Broncos. I love a late bye week in the NFL. By this time in the season, teams are able to find their identity. By this time, you've already found your identity. You have some key injuries that kind of need time to heal, to mend, to get those guys back to where they can compete, and you know whether or not you're going to be playing football in January. Coming off a statement win against the Kansas City Chiefs, the Broncos' bye is coming at the perfect time. The Broncos' star corner, Patrick Surtain, has been out since week 8, and they've still been finding ways to win. He's been out with a pectoral injury, and with Surtain being one of the best corners, if not the best corner in the league right now, this bye week is coming at a great time. The Broncos have to have a game plan in place for their division opponents, as 3 of their last 6 games are divisional opponents. They're humming, they're getting healthy, and I don't see a team at this point that's going to stop them. And we could argue the Colts. We could argue the Patriots. We tried to argue the Chiefs, yet the Chiefs are now 5-5. We could argue the Rams. We could throw arguments out there, but I don't see it happening. I don't see the Broncos slowing down. I don't see them giving way to the lead. And honestly, I think at the end of the day, hear me out, at the end of the day, the Broncos are the team to beat. At the end of the day, the Super Bowl will run through Denver. Here's the deal, Man Hour Nation. The Super Bowl window for the Denver Broncos is large. It's wide because here's the deal. We put all the eggs in one basket. That's what we do as NFL fans, okay? We put all of our eggs in one basket, and fan bases can be brutal when it comes to expectations. The Bronco fans are no different. Say the Broncos get to the playoffs as a young team with a young QB at the helm and a coach that has been inconsistent in the playoffs. Say they get there, have a fantastic season with a fantastic record, and they lay a goose egg. They're one and done. Then what? Well, just breathe. Just slow down a little bit because the team is young, the window is wide, and Super Bowl contention is something that for the next few years we will be talking about with the Broncos in mind. So you may be sitting there going, this dude is crazy. This guy, he doesn't know what he's talking about. And you could be right. You could be very, very right. But here's what I think. This is why the Broncos are Super Bowl bound. Here's why I'm buying it. 1, they're young. So, well, that's a silly reason. Let me explain what I mean by they're young. This can work in one of 2 ways. Young teams can make the playoffs. Young teams can make a run deep into the playoffs, and one of 2 things can happen. Their inexperience can cause them to fumble and flounder around in key and clutch situations, and they can come up short. Or, number two, they are so young that they don't know what it's like to be in this situation. So instead of letting the pressure be too big, instead of the light being too bright, they just go out there and they ball out like nobody's freaking business. I don't know which one, but I'm buying into the second, that they're young and they're going to ball out like nobody's watching. They're well coached. Sean Payton is a dog, like it or not. Okay? You can throw out the bounty targeting and all that stuff he did with New Orleans. Sean Payton is an absolute menace, okay? And here's the third thing. They are proven. Week after week after week, they go out, they ball out, and they put a beat down on teams that everybody goes, no, this is the week. This is the week that the Broncos lose. This is the week when the stars fly out of the sky. This is the week Throw that out the window. The Broncos are here. Bo Nix is here. R.J. Harvey is here. Courtland Sutton is here. And it's the real deal, baby. They've beaten good teams. They're young, without expectations of their own, and Sean Payton is one of the best to ever do it. So go ahead, stamp their ticket to the Super Bowl. It's not a feel-good story. This is a competitive team with a young edge who are saying, go ahead, doubt us, and watch what happens. Overlook us and watch what happens, but know this, that the road through to the Super Bowl is coming through Denver, baby. They're Super Bowl favorites in the AFC. I don't care what you say. Move over Chiefs, slide over Bills, and hey, Ravens, get out of here with Lamar. In with the young, out with the old. Bo Nix has talent. He's got young swagger. Sean Payton is accustomed to winning, and the defense is making big plays when they need to. Broncos to the bowl, baby. So that's my take. But I want to hear from you guys. Are the Broncos Super Bowl favorites in the AFC? Subscribe, hit that like button, and remember, we are live Monday through Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on youtube.com/man hour. Join the conversation. It's a live interactive show. Please, please, please go ahead, drop your comments below. We want to hear from you. Want to hear from you. Let's see what we got here. Who's in the chat? We have got Arthur Brown. He says, Broncos and the Patriots look scary. I'd agree. We talked about the Patriots a lot last week in my segment of the show. I think it was on Wednesday or Thursday. And I talked about how I really, truly believe that Drake May is an MVP-level quarterback. I think the Patriots are getting hot at the right time, and I think Mike Vrabel is a dog. Man Hour said, what did the Vikings do last season? One and done. Yeah. Old Man Rivers, what is up? Old Man Rivers, a pigskin pundit. He says, not this year. Okay? Not this year. Why not, Old Man Rivers? Why not this year? Says Denver has a decent squad, but not enough depth to make the playoff run, let alone a Super Bowl. They're at 9-2. They're at 9-2. We don't think they can make a playoff run at 9-2. Say they lose out the next 6 games. Okay? That puts them at 9-10. No, sorry, I can't math. 9-8, excuse me. You don't think they can make a playoff run with that caliber? I think they can. I think they can not only make a playoff run, but I think they are the black horse. They are the underdogs. And that's crazy to say about a number 1 seed. That is crazy to say about a number 1 seed, that they are dark horses. But I still think that way too many people are doubting on the Denver Broncos. So, Rivers, who do you have as AFC Super Bowl favorites if it's not the Broncos? Who? The Bills? Josh Allen? He's a dog. James Cook, dog. Keon Coleman's a dog, but Keon Coleman don't even want to show up and play. Their defense is okay, but they choke in the playoffs, hands down, every year. The Chiefs are going to be lucky to make the playoffs. They are 500 right now. The Chiefs need to take time, look inward, and go, what do we need to do to get to where we need to be? Because the culture around the Chiefs right now is not the culture that's been winning them all these Super Bowls the past few years. Old Man River says that going to Buffalo or Kansas City on December, negative Ghost Rider. Could be. But like I said before, young team, excited, underdogs, doubt us, and let them run it. Let them run the freaking show, baby. Broncos are Super Bowl bound. Ain't no one done here. Broncos are Super Bowl bound. Let's move on to our next segment in the show. And I want to talk about what I think is an undervalued position. That is the running backs. That is, Man Hour Nation, the running backs. And here's why I say that. Last year we saw some major shifts in the running back world in the NFL. And for years, we've heard backs say that they were underappreciated. We've seen them have holdouts like Le'Veon Bell, and we've seen ups and downs with that specific position in football. And I get it. Running backs are hammered, whether they are given the ball 30 times to carry in a game, whether they step back and pass blocking to take on a 350-pound defensive tackle. They're workhorses. They're injury-prone in a lot of instances. But we saw some major shifts in the running back community, if you will, last year. Okay? We saw 3 major running backs join different teams last year, and they thrived. They thrived. Let's talk about it. We saw Saquon to the Eagles, led the league in rushing. Okay? Could have been MVP. Derrick Henry to the Ravens, dog. And we saw my boy Josh Jacobs to the Green Bay Packers. And those guys led the league in rushing. Saquon at 1, Henry at 2, and my boy Josh Jacobs at 6. That's pretty big. They didn't feel appreciated by their teams, the Ravens, the Giants, or the Raiders. And so they said, all right, you can go elsewhere. And they went elsewhere, and they got their bag, and they've been running like their life depends on it. Now, I say they got their bag. Henry and Saquon got a bag. Or not Henry. Jacobs and Saquon got a bag. Henry, he got a 2-year, I think, was it $16 million deal. Josh Jacobs was Alabama. Jacobs is not overhyped. Josh Jacobs is a dog. Josh Jacobs is injured, but now we're getting off topic. Those 3 guys led the league at 1, 2, and 6. We saw, and we're seeing it now, it is time to put some respect on the running back position. You heard it. Respect the running back position. Pay these guys. Put some bodies up front in front of them and watch them go to freaking work. I want to talk about how this year is the year for running backs, okay? I want to start with the one, the only, the person that should and will win MVP, my boy, Jonathan Taylor. I said it last week. I'll say it again this week. Jonathan Taylor is a dog. Jonathan Taylor is the backbone of the Indianapolis Colts. Jonathan Taylor is going to get his. Every time I turn on the television, and I get to watch the Indianapolis Colts, I watch them for one reason. It ain't Daniel Jones. It's not Alec Pierce. It's not, who else do they have to throw to? They don't have Adonai Mitchell. He's to the Jets. It's not Michael Pittman Jr. I like Tyler Warren. He's up and coming. It is Jonathan freaking Taylor. Maybe Quentin Nelson, because I love a big lineman getting out there and getting his due. But Jonathan Taylor is a dog. He's going to win MVP this year. He leads the league in rushing with 1,139 yards. He's ripped off 8 runs that have went for 20 or more. He's ripped off 4 runs that have went for 40 or more yards. And his longest run was last week in Berlin when he made the Falcons look straight silly, and he took off for, I think it was like 83 yards. It was nuts. Stuffed in the middle, bounced it outside, and bada bing, bada boom, he took off for the races. Jonathan Taylor has 15 tutties this season. He's still got 6 games to go. He's averaging over, not 1, not 2, not 3. He's averaging over 6 yards a carry. That's insane. 6 yards a carry is insane. That is dominant. It is punishing. That is MVP level football. And here's the deal. He's got 2 more years on his $42 million contract. And dare I say it, if Jonathan Taylor plays the next 2 years and produces like he is, we could see record-breaking contract numbers for the running back position in the next couple of years. It's the year of the running back. Then I want to talk about the second leading rusher in the league right now. I want to head over to New York, where another running back is running rampant in his offense. He's not going to be in the conversation for MVP, but he's having numbers that will speak for themselves. With 968 rushing yards on 182 carries, averaging just under, again, an insane number, 5.5 yards per carry. We're talking about the man, the myth, the legend, James freaking Cook. James Cook is helping spread out this offense for Josh Allen. He's taking pressure off of him, and he's making big chunk plays when needed. He's got 5 runs over 20 yards. He's got 2 that went over 40, and he sits right behind Jonathan Taylor in rushing on the year. And let's not forget, this man just got paid. He sat out during some of the workouts on the offseason. There was a lot of trade rumors swirling around going, hey, is he going to play? Is he going to be the person that the Buffalo Bills are going to be able to keep? And we sat back for years and years and years and said if Buffalo could just establish a run game, they could get over the hump. And Buffalo said, hey, James Cook, come here, big dog. We got a bag for you. Come here, big dog. We know you want to eat and we want to feed, so here's the bag, James Cook. Go and get yours. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Buffalo has established themselves as a team that can spread the field, and it's with their run game. And they're going to make a playoff push for it. They ain't going to win the Super Bowl. Because the Chiefs, 'tis the NFL narrative, the Chiefs will knock them out of Super Bowl contention. And that's just, it is what it is. They will knock them out of Super Bowl contention. And that pains me to see. It pains me to see because at the end of the day, I like Josh Allen. At the end of the day, I like Sean McDermott. But at the end of the day, these numbers don't lie. James Cook is producing and helping this team. I love it. This is the year of the running backs, baby. Next we got all the way down south. That's where we're heading. We're heading down south, and I'm talking way down south to a running back that's quick and explosive. A running back that emerged last year in a dominant offense at the time, and one that is one of the few bright spots in an offense that is sputtering this year. Yeah, that's right. I'm talking about the Miami Dolphins and Devon Achane. Can we all agree that Tua and McDaniels are playing for their freaking jobs this season? And it's not looking good. Tua and McDaniels are playing for their jobs this season, and it's not looking good. They both may get fired together and go to the same team next up together, okay? But there is a bright spot in Miami. There is a bright spot in Miami, and his name is Devon Achane. I love Devon Achane because his ability is not just to run downhill, but he can be a problem when he gets out in space. He's third in rushing this year with 900 flat on the ground. 164 attempts, putting him at nearly 5.5 yards a touch. Again, just insane numbers. And the crazy part about Achane is the dude hasn't even been paid. He hasn't been paid. He's on his rookie contract. He was drafted in 2023 by the Dolphins, and he has some flashes here and there in 2024, but he's the premier back now. Raheem Mostert's out. He's the premier back right now. He's producing, and if he continues to do so, the Dolphins are going to be at a crossroads. Will they pay the downhill speedster, or are they going to let him walk to a team and see if he produces? You got to appreciate what you have, New York Giants. You got to appreciate what you have, Las Vegas Raiders. You got to appreciate what you had, Tennessee Titans. This is the undervalued running back position in the NFL today. Goodness, it gets me heated talking about it. But those aren't just the only running backs in the game. We got 32 teams. We got 32 teams with multiple running backs, and I want to talk about some that are emerging to keep on your radar. Okay, some names I want you to keep an eye on the next couple seasons because they could be getting their bags. I think they can emerge and be great. The first I want to talk about, we've talked about him a lot past few weeks in this show. He hails from Foxborough. His name is Trayveon Henderson. Trayveon has started to establish himself as a dominant runner with quick speed and downhill aggression when needed. He's spreading out the field well for his young quarterback, Drake the GOAT MVP May, and he's going to be a force to reckon with for years. He can do it all. When it comes to running, blocking, or open passes in the backfield, he's that guy. Pair that with a young quarterback, a hungry coach in Mike Vrabel. Whew. He is going to be a problem for years to come, and a team that's been looking for that running game for a while now. The second back I want to talk about, he had to hang his cleats up early due to a nasty ankle injury. It's my dude, Cam CTE Scatterbo. That's right. He's going to be an animal. He's an absolute menace. His aggression and force that he runs with the ball is unmatched. In an offense that wants to spread the ball around with a young quarterback, look out for Cam Scatterbo because maybe not now, but next year he's getting his. I'm telling you now. We're going to talk a little bit about it later on in the show, but the New York Giants, if they can get the right coach in there, is going to be the real deal. Cam Scatterbo. And last but not least, and it pains me to say, but I've been watching this kid ball out for the Chicago Bears. And when I watch the Chicago Bears, I see flashes from Caleb Williams and I see Rome Odunze making these crazy catches. But there's one kid that when I turn on the Chicago Bears game, he gets a few touches a game, and I'm like, y'all need to feed that man. You guys don't understand what you have right there, right now, and his name is Kyle Monangai. Kyle Monangai for the Bears, this kid is electric, and every chance he gets to touch the ball, he capitalizes on. He's sitting behind DeAndre Swift right now, who's having an up year, maybe really getting himself a contract, whether that be with the Bears or not. But Monangai is the real deal. I think the Bears have found a diamond in the rough. Let this kid develop. Use him downhill or in a passing game. He's averaging 4.5 yards a carry with a young quarterback, Caleb Williams, and an offense that has explosive playmakers like Rome Odunze, DJ Moore, and Colston Loveland. Watch out. Monangai flies under the radar before teams. And guess what? He's going to explode on the scene the next few seasons for Chi-Town. So here's my message to the league. Here's my message to you, Man Hour. Would you please respect the value of the running back? Pay the freaking guys. Give these guys the bag. Watch the teams that are successful. Watch the teams that are winning games. It comes down to allowing the pressure to be off the quarterback, to set up the play action, and to control the clock in a close game. And all those responsibilities fall on who? The running back. Bring back respect for the position. Bring back checks to them guys too. Give the running backs their freaking bag. Do you think the running back position is undervalued in the NFL? I want to hear from you. Should teams consider building their franchise among a more solidified run game? Don't forget to subscribe, hit that like button, and remember, we are live Monday through Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on youtube.com/Man Hour. Join the conversation. It's a live, interactive show. Go ahead and drop your comments below. All right, let's talk about it. What do we got this time around? Let's see. Old Man River says best duo backfield is in Detroit. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. You got Jahmyr Gibbs. You got David Montgomery. That is the best duo backfield in the NFL, but that's not what we're talking about, Rivers. We're talking about running backs being undervalued. Them running backs in Detroit are not undervalued. David Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs know their importance in that offensive scheme. I ain't worried about them. They know what they're doing. Let's see. Taylor has a decent O-line. Old Man River says a decent O-line? He's got a dang good offensive line. They are moving bodies up front, and he's balling out. He says those are Jim Brown-type numbers. Yeah, Jonathan Taylor is that guy. Jonathan Taylor is a dog. We got Old Man Rivers says, what about Rookie of the Year? You could argue that Trayveon could be in that conversation. You could also argue that Drake May's going to be in that conversation. Okay? You could argue that who are some other people? We wanted to say Ashton Jeanty was going to be in that conversation, but golly day, he's with the freaking Las Vegas Raiders. And what are they doing? Nothing. Nada. I'll tell you what they're doing. 2 wins, 8 losses. So I don't know if he's going to get Rookie of the Year. Old Man River says Gibbs. Yeah, Gibbs is a dog. He's a dog, but he's got to split touches with David Montgomery. Do you think Gibbs is as good as all these other running backs if he has to be the premier back? He's a finesse runner. He's a speedster. I don't know if he has the durability to be a premier back in this league. 30, 40, 50 touches a game. You think Jahmyr can do that? I don't know. OMG, Packers fan hyping up the Bears, not on my bingo card. I know. But here's the deal, Man Hour Nation. While I am a Packers fan, I recognize ball. While I am a Green Bay Packers fan through and through, I recognize ball and Kyle Monangai. Whew, he is balling out, and he's fun to watch. Oh, my goodness, he's fun to watch. Let's keep moving right along here. Thanks for tuning in with us today. I'm super excited to get on to this next piece, and it's about the New York Giants. The New York Football Giants. And last week I discussed how Brian Daboll's firing was terrible. Not because Brian Dable was producing, not because he was the right answer for coach, but the timing of it was terrible. And you could tune in. You could go back and look at that stream on our YouTube here if you want to hear all about it. But with that in mind, I want to give you some of my early predictions as to who will take the Giants' head coaching position. Because here's the deal. This is an intriguing job for any coach. This is an intriguing job for any coach, and here's why. You've got a young offense, very young offense, a rookie quarterback, a rookie running back this year. You've got a second-year star wide receiver. And the defense, my goodness. The defense is loaded with talent. Talking with Buck, one of the questions we asked in this offseason was how can the Giants utilize the talent that they've drafted? You're talking Kayvon Thibodeau. You're talking Abdul Carter, Dexter Lawrence, Adebayo, the corner there. You've just got so much raw talent on that New York Giants defense. It's an intriguing job. So let's start with a coach that I've got a lot of respect for. A coach that I've had a lot of ups and downs with as a fan over the years, and that is the one, the only, Mike McCarthy. I know I threw you off with the Lane Kiffin, but I want to talk about Mike McCarthy. See, Mike led the Packers to a Super Bowl in 2010. I hold on to that very near and dear because that's the last time I celebrated a Super Bowl win was 2010, 15 years ago, against the Pittsburgh Steelers. And he led that team to a Super Bowl, but as a head coach for the Packers, he had a regular season record of 125, 77 losses, and 2 ties. I hate freaking ties. That's a whole nother thing. I hate ties in the NFL. Let me get on my soapbox for a second. Professional athletes should not end in a tie. Okay, if after overtime there's still a tied score, then send out your 2 best players and fight to the death. Or, matter of fact, don't send out your 2 best players. Send out your 2 worst players and let them fight to the death. And whoever comes out alive, they won. Your team wins and move on, okay? The other team, you got an extra roster spot open up, bring up somebody from your practice squad or sign somebody else. But daggone it. Roger Goodell, NFL, quit letting the league and games end in ties for the love of everything. Because here's the deal. My Packers tied again this year already against the Dallas Cowboys. And it broke my heart. I stayed up past midnight on a work night to watch the Packers tie with the freaking Cowboys, who are hot garbage. I don't care. I said it. The Cowboys are hot garbage. Word to Buck. He thinks they're going to the Super Bowl. They suck. Terrible. All right. Here's the deal. Then he went to Dallas. Mike McCarthy went to Dallas. It was short-lived. Short-lived. He went there, and he won 49 games. He lost 35. Mike McCarthy was fired from that head coach position from Dallas, and he's kind of just been floating around. And maybe not floating. He's a big dude. But Mike McCarthy would be a great fit for a young Giants team because they're offensive-minded, young, and an organization that, quite frankly, has a culture issue. They don't have an identity. They don't know who they are. And really, Mike McCarthy can come in there and shape that. He's dealt with big personalities. Look, cue in Aaron Rodgers, the GOAT, okay? Aaron Rodgers had a huge personality. We saw that when he went to the New York Jets, and they said, hey, listen up. And Aaron said, hey, I want this guy, and this guy. They said, no problem. And they brought Green Bay Packers 2.0 to New York, and the New York Jets still sucked, okay? Mike McCarthy would be a great fit because he's vetted, he's gritty, and he's offensive-minded. He would get a start with a young quarterback, which he really hasn't got since Rodgers because when he took over in Dallas, Dak was already in a couple systems. He'll have a defense, a really good defense, to complement that offense, which is what Mike had when he won that 2010 Super Bowl. Mike McCarthy should be considered a top candidate for these reasons in the Giants' head coaching job. But with that said, I got a couple more. So let's talk about it. That boy, Arthur Smith. And let's be honest, the Atlanta Falcons on paper, they look real good on paper. However, deep down, they are lackluster and they need a facelift at head coach. They have a new coach or newer coach. He's been there for 3 years. This is year 4, I believe, who can call offensive schemes and put players in places to succeed like Bijan Robinson, Drake London, and Michael Penix. But here's the twist. Here is the twist. The Falcons currently sit at 3-7, and they're going to want a scapegoat. The fans are going to be crying out for a scapegoat. Michael Penix just went down. It can't be him. You ain't getting rid of Bijan Robinson, one of the premier backs in the league, who I probably should have talked about above. So who you going to get rid of? Who you going to call? Arthur Smith. Get that man out of there. They're going to fire Arthur Smith, and he's not a bad coach. He knows how to stretch the field. He knows how to get players in a good position to succeed, young players at that. And here's the deal. He's going to be fired, and he's going to go to the Giants, and he's going to lead the Giants to the playoffs. He's going to have a fresh face. He's going to bring in a fresh culture and be ready to build his own franchise with the likes of Jackson Dart, Malik Neighbors, and CTE Scatabo. He will also have an arsenal. Man, I can't say that enough, chat. I could go on and on and on about the defensive weapons for the New York Giants. He will have an arsenal of weapons on the defensive front to play with. Is it likely? I don't know. But you know what? It sounds freaking fun. Sounds really freaking fun. So, what do you think so far? Head coach for Giants. Would you want that job? Well, here's the deal. I got one more candidate I want to talk about. And this one, honestly, this is the one I find most likely. And I was talking with Buck about it earlier this week. And I find this one the most likely, and this is the one that wounds me and cuts me the deepest. I was talking to Buck about it. I was talking to my wife about it. And it's the Packers defensive coordinator, Jeff freaking Hafley. And he's an interesting story, and let me tell you why. He left the college world as the head coach, as a head coach in a college team. I can't remember what team it was. It was not a big-name team. And he came to the NFL to revamp a lackluster Packers defense. And he did that. While the Packers started going up on the defensive side of things, and we welcomed him with open arms. And while the Packers GM Ed Polisi would love to hold on to their defensive genius, the draw of the New York head coach job may just be too much. See, Hafley's from New Jersey, and he was asked earlier this week before the Giants game, early last week, before the Giants game, if he felt like he was interviewing for the Giants head coaching job this weekend. And I asked him that because here's the deal. He's from Jersey. His family lives up that way. And with a smirk, he responded that he was focused on winning the game for the Packers and supporting him in the best way possible. But deep down, we as fans knew this. Jeff Hafley was thinking of Mama's home-cooked meal and being home with his mom, being able to bring his family back home. Hafley to the Giants to make them a defense that they've been trying to get to for years. Yeah, that's going to be the move. You heard it here, Man Hour Nation. Jeff Hafley is going to go to the Giants. It pains me to say that, Packers fans. Here's the deal. Last point I want to make on this. There are no college coaches that are getting this job. Not a single college coach that is getting this job. And here's why. Here is why I say no college coach is getting this job. Because they need a culture made. They need a winning culture. You don't need a new face. You need a winning culture. No one in the college world is going to give you that. Not at the NFL level. Except maybe Bill Belichick, but he's been washed up since dating a girl that could be his granddaughter based off of her freaking age. He's been unacceptable. He ain't even been mediocre. He's been geriatric with the University of North Carolina. There are no other candidates that are worth taking a look at. Coach Rowe said that maybe Cignetti, but Cignetti just signed a lifer deal. Maybe not a lifer deal, but he just got paid. He's staying in Bloomington, to coach the Hoosiers. He's not going. The guy from Penn State that got fired, he just signed with Virginia Tech. He's not going. Nobody can bring that winning NFL experience to the Giants. And the Giants don't want a college coach. The Giants need a vetted coach that can come in, that can shift the culture. Maybe they're a little younger, okay? And they can take this team to where they need to go. You need a coach that knows how to develop on one side of the ball or the other, can set a new culture in New York, and can appease the people up north. So here's the deal. The Giants will not hire within. They will not hire from college. They're going to find a new face. They're going to reset the culture, the expectations, and develop young talent that they have now. And if they don't, they will be a dumpster fire of a dynasty for years and years to come. So, Man Hour Nation, now it's your turn. I want to hear from you. Who will the Giants' next head coach be? Or do you think it's too early to tell? Again, subscribe, hit that like button below. And remember, we are live Monday through Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on youtube.com/Man Hour. Join the conversation. It's live, interactive show. But tell me, who will be the Giants' next head coach? Let's see. We got Coach Rowe in the chat. What up, Coach Rowe? He says, McCarthy to New York. Does he even want a job? Let's see. IU head coach be a good fit? No. We already talked about that. Signetti staying with the Hoosiers in Bloomington. Money does talk. But anyways, I'm going to move on. I want to move on to our next topic at hand tonight. And that next topic at hand is simple. It's going to hurt some feelings. I know it's going to hurt some feelings, but I want to talk about it. Who should go in tank mode? Who should tank for the 2026 NFL Draft? Here's the deal. The number one draft pick of the 2026 NFL Draft is already spoken for by the Tennessee Titans. They will not win another game all year, and that is a fact, Jack. Bottom line, put it in stone. They suck, okay? They just came out and said that Calvin Ridley has broken his fibula or something in his leg, and he is done for the season. I would not be surprised if Cam Ward is shut down early. And here's the deal. They're getting the number one pick, baby. They are getting the number one pick. However, there are more teams at the bottom of the barrel that should really, really consider tanking the rest of the season to get draft pieces to help rebuild their already broken vessels of distress. So while I'm sure this draft class can't hold a candle to last year's, because it can't. Last year's draft class was special. But there's going to be some talent that can benefit these teams, so let's dive right in. With the first pick in the NFL draft of 2026, I don't care who the Titans take. We know that's who's got it, okay? But here's a team that could tank for the second, and that is the New York Football Jets. For years, this team has tried to find an identity at quarterback with no success. They've tried with veterans like Aaron Rodgers. They've tried with fresh young blood like the GOAT himself, top 10, Justin Fields. Just kidding. Just had to get that out there. The New York Football Jets have traded all their stars with the exception of the only Breece Hall and Garrett Wilson, and they need a quarterback to build the franchise around. With new first-year coach this year, Aaron Glenn, he's shown some flashes. The Jets need to tank to number 2. Get the most NFL-ready quarterback in the next year's draft. Y'all ready for this? Here's my hot take. The most NFL-ready quarterback in the 2026 draft is the star quarterback at Indiana University, Fernando Mendoza from IU. Oh, did I mention this? The Jets have 2 picks in the first round this year. So go ahead, get Mendoza, and they'll go ahead and say, hey, Alabama, we want Ryan Williams, that young receiver that really could have been in the draft last year if it wasn't for the fact that they needed him to stay in school for a certain amount of time before he gets drafted. Go get Mendoza. Go get Ryan Williams. Pair them with Breece Hall. Pair them with Garrett Wilson. Pair them with a smart and new coach, Aaron Glenn. And go get that money, baby. Go get them dubs, baby. I love how Jameis Winston says it, and he says it best. He says, do you see this? That's a W. We're going to go eat a W. So, New York, I know that it's been a hard year. I know that the expectations weren't there. I was watching the game live when Aaron Rodgers went out a couple years ago. Pop, 4 plays in, Achilles went out. I know it's been rough, but here's the bright spot at the end of the tunnel. Go and get draft capital. Go and get that money. Go and do that thing. Tank. Get done. Don't win any more games. Don't win any more games. You've won 2 games all year, and your starting quarterback is now freaking Tyrod Taylor. For the love of the green, for the love of the fans, for the love of what Mark Sanchez built, Tank can get some identity. Tank can get you a quarterback. Give Aaron Glenn a freaking snowball chance in hell to do anything with the New York Jets before y'all fire him and he goes back to being a defensive coordinator somewhere. Maybe for the Packers when Jeff Hafley goes and takes over that New York Giants job. Next team I want to talk about that should go ahead and tank. And I don't know if you're in here, Wes, but I need you to turn off your sound now, okay? Because when you look at teams without an identity, it's really, really tough to not talk about the New Orleans Saints. With a rotation at quarterback, no reliable receivers after the Shaheed trade, and a defense who boast about a 36-year-old defensive tackle in Cam. What's his last name? I'm spacing. Cam. I see him. I can't remember his last name now. I'm spacing. But. Oh, Cameron Jordan. That's his name, Cameron Jordan. Excuse me. They boast about him all the time. Oh, we got this defensive tackle. Yeah, he works at the nursing home. He's a geriatric. Send him on his name. Or send him on his way, excuse me. It's time to let go, New Orleans. Take the life support off this dying franchise and begin the freaking rebuild. Another team that has only won 2 games all year, and you're probably not going to win another unless the Jets and the Titans decide to play ball again. You currently have the 4th pick in the NFL draft as it stands now. Secure it. Find an identity and plan to move forward in the draft. Rattler and Shaw are not your answer at QB. I'm sorry, they're not. But I'll tell you a gritty kid who can make an immediate impact for you. I'll tell you a gritty kid who could step in and be your QB1 day 1. You could get him in round 1, but I'll tell you what, you probably could steal him in round 2 or 3. And his name is Diego Pavia out of Vandy. This kid is a dog. Go get your franchise quarterback and call it a year. The Saints missed the mark not trading Kamara for some draft capital. Even if they'd have been later round picks, your season is over. Don't ruin the draft in November by winning some meaningless games. Wrap it up. Call it a day. Call it a day. And the last team I want to talk about. John, I don't know if you're in here, man. I don't know if you're watching as you get ready to gear up to watch your team play tonight, but I need you to turn away. I need you to turn away and don't listen to this. But the Las Vegas Raiders are done, my friend. They're about to kick off a game against the Dallas Cowboys, and to be completely transparent with you, they may lose by 50. They may lose by 50. Oh, that's Old Man Rivers. Whew. On paper, this team could be really freaking good. But your inconsistent quarterback play and the lack of targets to throw to make this franchise mediocre at best. The Raiders have won 2 games, as their counterparts have. And to be honest, y'all need to lose the rest. They have a quarterback issue that Garoppolo and Geno Smith ain't going to fix. They're washed. Get rid of them. Send them out. Let go. There's a superhero that can change the trajectory for you, though, in the 2026 draft. His name rings, or his last name rings in through the minds of NFL fans every year for years and years and years, and that last name is Manning. Arch Manning from the University of Texas. Tank, get Arch. Hire Peyton, his father, to help coach the young QB and get a few wide receivers to add to this arsenal. Pair that with your up-and-coming running back, Ashton Jeanty, one of the best tight ends in the league in Brock Bowers, and this offense is going to be clicking. Don't forget, on the other side of the ball, you have one of the best pass rushers in Max Crosby. Hang up the cleats, put the gear up, and draft, Raiders fans. Go get you Arch. Go do your thing. Go get you Arch Manning. Go hire his daddy as the quarterback coach. Bada bing, bada boom, Pete Carroll, Arch Manning to the Super Bowl. That's what I'm talking about. Last but not least, a team that needs to hit tank mode now. We need to talk about the elephant, the big old thing in the room, and that is a team who has the most exciting wide receiver prospect since Deion Sanders came into the league, and his name is Marvin Harrison Jr. Now, I get it that he's dealt with injuries, but look who's been throwing the dude the freaking ball. Kyler, 2'4" Murray. Oh, well, he's been out, Shay. Okay, you got 47-year-old Jacoby Brissett. The Arizona Cardinals need to get some pieces in the draft to pair with Marvin Harrison, or they can kiss his freaking prime goodbye. They need to get some freaking capital to pair with Trey McBride, or they can kiss him goodbye, and Coach Cliff Kingsbury could be coaching for his job if he don't get things under control. Kyler Murray is done being the Cardinals quarterback, and that is a fact, Jack. Here's the deal. He may be done being an NFL starting quarterback. Yes, I said it. It seems anytime a new Call of Duty game comes out, that Kyler is more interested in the sticks than he is the sticks, if you know what I mean. He's more interested in his KD than he is his touchdown to interception rating, if you know what I mean. Though he has shown flashes, Jacoby Brissett is not a franchise quarterback. He's old. He's been an answer for what you needed right now, but he's old and it's not going to work out. You need weapons on both sides of the ball. Cardinals, please, 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 go ahead, hang it up. Look ahead to what could be. I know it's got to be tough not having a viable quarterback since Kurt Warner was slinging the rock for you guys. So I'm telling you now, as somebody who recognizes ball, y'all ain't got it. Hang up the cleats, look ahead to the draft, and let's see what you can do. Let me ask you, do you think you can build in the draft? And I'm not just talking like add a few pieces here and there. I'm talking build from the ground up. I think you can build pieces around the team with draft capital, but to rebuild from the ground up in a single or 2 or 3 drafts, I don't think it's viable. And while there are some teams that should look ahead to the draft and lick their wounds now, in December, addressing team needs is a year-long process. You see that with contenders. You see that with the teams that want to win. You do not see that with the teams above. They need to get on it. They need to figure out how to develop. They need to figure out how to put pieces around throughout the entire year. Get on it and get on it fast. But, man, our nation, I want to hear from you. Do you think the team should tank? Or do you think they should go ahead and play out their entire season? If you're a fan and you buy a ticket, do you want your team to be tanking? Or do you want them to play out the entire season? Again, I want to encourage you, subscribe, hit that like button below. We are live Monday through Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on youtube.com/man hour. Join the conversation. It's a live interactive show, so go ahead and drop your comments below. I would love to hear from you. Let's see what we got here. Where's Buck? Buck's at a basketball practice with his kiddos. My name is Shay. I am your host. I'll be here once or twice a week. I love rocking with you guys, Man Our Nation. We're doing some renovations behind me, so that's why you've got this cabinet right here, the window back here. I love getting to just talk ball. I'm a huge Green Bay Packers fan, but I recognize talent. So let's just talk ball. I'm excited to be here with you guys. Let's see. Mark got the butt fumble in jail now. Yes. Mark Sanchez, R.I.P. to my boy. If you don't know, he decided to stab an old man, and he got in a bunch of trouble. He got replaced by Drew Brees, who, honestly, I listened to him announce this week, and I'm honestly thinking he may be worse than Chris Collinsworth, but I got to give it time. I'm not ready to make that statement yet. Cam Jordan is so overhyped, Buck says. I agree. He was not in his prime. He was a dog in his prime. But he is overhyped now. Let him go. Let him do his thing. Shay. NFC North bromance in effect. Buck said, we all know Jets, Saints, Raiders, Giants, Titans cannot tank, right? Dolphins will end up with the first overall pick. Lies, Buck. That is not true. The Titans have that secured. Let's see. John said he agrees the Dolphins are shit at tanking. They still think they have a hot chance. They do, but they're not going to get the number 1 pick. They will not get the number 1 pick. Old Man River. Nope, that was just to call out the Old Man River. Hey, Arch Manning is going to be the Raiders quarterback. Pete Carroll will not get fired. And that's a fact, Jack. Let's see. No draft will save any of these teams. I agree with you, James Powell. I agree with you. No draft will save any of these teams. And that's a fact, Jack. John says, I agree, Murray going elsewhere, still starter, but somewhere else. I don't think he's a starter, man. I do not think he will start. I think he is done starting, and I think that at the end of the day, he will be a backup at best. But who knows? I think he will be on a different team. I know he will be on a different team, but I do not think that he will be a starter anywhere else. All right. It is time to move into a segment that we like to call Buy or Sell, my friends. Now it's time for that overreaction. For those of you who haven't seen, let me break it down for you. I'm going to throw out this hot take, and you got to tell me, are you going to buy it or are you going to sell it? I'm going to tell you why I would buy it, and then I'm going to tell you why I would sell that overreaction. But if you think it's legit, we're going to agree. So let's talk about the first thing. And y'all know, I am a Packers fan through and through. So if you don't like the Packers, you may just tune off. Turn your earbuds down. Old Man Rivers, turn your hearing aids down, and let's get right to business. I'll give you a hot take, and let's talk about it. The Pack is back, baby. The Pack is back. And let me tell you why. Why you should buy that the Pack is back. They beat the New York Giants. We beat the New York Giants, okay? They suck. Let's just be honest. The New York Giants, they suck. But despite the team's proneness to injuries, they are finding ways to win. We are without our top tight end, Tucker Kraft, who is the leading receiver for Jordan Love. We are now out without Josh Jacobs, who has an injury, it's going to sideline him for we don't know how long. Elton Jenkins fractured his leg, starting center, I believe. Injury after injury after injury, but they are finding ways to win. It may not be flashy, it may not be pretty, but the Packers are 6-3-1 for a reason. They've got a young and talented offense, a coach that, despite the criticism, is a hell of a play caller, and a defense that is holding some of the best teams to low-scoring affairs. The Packers play way better down the stretch, okay? Way better down the stretch. And that's an understatement. The Packers are better teams in the month of December and January. They do. And when you play cold football in Green Bay, it's tough, and it hurts, and it's mean. The Packers thrive, and I mean thrive, off of being underdogs. They thrive being underdogs. Doubt us. And I think the best story of underdogs is when the Eagles went to the bowl with Nick Foles. But that's beyond the point. The Packers love being underdogs. They love being doubted. And that's where they're at right now. Everybody thinks they're a hoax. I love hearing about the Bears and how the Bears are running the NFC North now. And they are for a week, maybe two. But they're going to fall back down. Don't you worry. They're going to get back down to where they need to be. And I'm excited for that. So, the Packers are back. Jordan Love is a Toyota-thon quarterback. I don't know if you know this, but around the same time every year, there's this thing called Toyota-thon where they sell Toyotas for dirt cheap. And for whatever reason, that boy, Jordan Love, plays out of his freaking mind. And he's already been playing really solid football this year. His decision-making could be better. It's been mediocre at some points. flat out bad in others. But for the most part, Jordan Love has he's having a great season right now. He had 7 or 8 drops yesterday and still had a good completion percentage. I think it was over 100 quarterback rating. Guys, Toyotathon is among us. And the pack is back. The pack is back, baby. They got a young offense. They got a mean defense. And the next 6 games, they've got 4 of them as divisional opponents. They're going to sweep the Lions. They're going to sweep the Bears. Oh, and did I mention they're going to beat the Vikings this Sunday and sweep them too? Sweep the division. The pack is back. Why is this an overreaction? Why am I selling this? Because we just beat the Giants. We didn't beat a team that was killing it on all cylinders. We didn't beat a team that was just top-of-the-line contenders. We beat a team that is 2-8. So tell me to slow it down. I'll hear you. I'll slow it down. Packers haven't played up to their opponents as of late. I'll give you that. We lose to the Browns. We lose to the Panthers. Lost to the Eagles. Eagles was a team that I'd be like, all right, I'm okay with losing to them. But at the end of the day, we needed to beat the Eagles. They're in the conference. They're in the NFC. We had a chance to beat the Eagles, and we flat out I shouldn't say we. I should say one thing. I love Matt LaFleur. I think he's going to have a long future in the Packers organization, but daggone, the play calling that game was terrible. Straight booty cheeks. I mean, hot dog water. And we talked a little bit about it last week, but when a defensive tackle was sitting there going, hey, they're running inside zone left, like, Matt LaFleur, you got to do something with that, man. You ain't disguising nothing. And another reason that I'm not buying into this is because the division gauntlet is coming up. And it's rough. The Bears are playing hot football. I hate to say it. The Bears are playing hot football. The Lions play well down the stretch, and the Vikings, I mean, I don't know. The Vikings are imploding. I mean, Justin Jefferson's on the sideline crashing out about J.J. McCarthy. So, what's my verdict? Am I buying or am I selling? Y'all already know. I'm buying, baby. Green Bay Packers, Super Bowl against the Denver Broncos. 2025, here we go. I guess it'll be 2026. Super Bowl of the year 2026. Green Bay Packers, Denver Broncos. Let's go get it. Jordan Love, Bo Nix, Josh Jacobs, R.J. Harvey, Christian Watson, Cortland Sutton, Packers, Broncos, Super Bowl 2026. I'm buying in, baby. Let's get it. But I want to hear from you. What are you thinking, chat? What are you thinking? Let's see. Packers are back in the basement, Buck says, and you sit in the bedroom and watch them. Packers played their best game versus the Cowboys and got a tie. They are last in the division. I got to sell the Packers are back. That's fair, Buck. That's fair. Down the stretch, they ain't played great. But here's the deal. They back, baby. They back, baby. They are going to get theirs. They're going to get everything right. And just in the nick of time as they go ahead and take on the NFC North gauntlet. John Seedrib, what's up, John? Says Packers defense is what's holding them in these games. And like you said, low scoring, but offense due to Jordan Love, poo-poo play is not going to get them anywhere. Jordan Love has played like poo-poo in some games, but he's also played lights out. He threw for almost 400 yards against, who was that? It wasn't the Eagles. Who did they play before the Eagles? Oh, goodness. The Steelers against his predecessor, or his Jedi. He's the Padawan. He threw for almost 400 yards against Aaron Rodgers in a very good Steelers defense. We see James Powell says the pack is back because the Raiders got the OC that was holding them back. Yes, thank you for that. We owe you one. Buck says nobody up north buys a Toyota. Y'all Subaru folks. That is facts. I lived in Pennsylvania for almost 3 years, and Subarus were the cars to have. And I always ask, are these good in the snow? Like, do they run good? They're like, bro, these are all-wheel drive. These suckers are tanks in the snow. And they lived and died by the Subarus. Jordan Love lives and dies by Toyotas, and it's Toyotathon, so let's ride, Packers Nation. Let's see. John Cedric says, bro, they are not sweeping the division. Super overreaction. You selling because you're a fan. Maybe so. Maybe I am, John. But who's going to beat them in the division? Who's going to beat them? We beat Detroit at Detroit. We beat Detroit at Detroit. We beat Washington at Washington. So now we've got to play the Vikings at Minnesota. Dub. We got to play the Bears once at Green Bay at Lambeau, and then once at Soldier. Dubs. And then we play the Lions at Lambeau. Dubs. Who is beating the Packers in the division? You think the Lions? You honestly think the Lions? Because they're playing like cheeks down the stretch. But go ahead, say the Lions. Go ahead. That's fine. That's fine. Buck says dropping 2 of the 3 for sure. He's drunk now. Jordan Love, the brand new roller coaster ride at the Great Mall of America. Yeah, he's up and down. James Powell says Green Bay fans do drive Subarus and wear mullets and flannel shirts and are lady lumberjacks. I take offense to that. I put the flannel on specifically for you, James. And I put this beanie on here to give it a nice look with the beard. And that one cuts deep. But that's all right. James, who do you represent again? What fan base are you? Don't want to roast you. Just want to know. Just want to make sure we're on the same page here. Buck said they like Kit Kats. You banking off Commanders to win. Must be talking to Jeter again. Look, Jeter and I talked a lot early on in the year about the Commanders. We talked about the Packers. I talked with his daughter, who's a huge Commanders fan too. And at the end of the day, I thought the Commanders were the real deal. And at the end of the day, the Commanders are losing their season right now. Mind you, they haven't had JD5 most of the year. I told Jeter when JD5 went down with that lingering leg injury that it was going to be something that reoccurred all year, and guess what? It did. And not only that, but the man dislocated his elbow in like 74 different places. But we're getting off topic. And the Penguins, James Powell says the Penguins. I'm going to go with Buck. Who watches hockey? I'd rather watch paint dry. Okay? I'd rather watch grass grow. I'd rather watch mold collect on bread that I haven't eaten in 3 months than to watch hockey. John says, keep looking. Lions winning in Green Bay. That's wild. Vikings winning in Minneapolis. And Bears winning one of the two. Bears could win one of the two. The Lions will not win in Green Bay in December. They will not. The Bears could win one of the two. Probably the second. Or the first. Whichever one's not at Lambeau, they could win at Chicago. The Vikings are not winning at Minneapolis. The Vikings are hot dog water right now. They have to find an identity with J.J. McCarthy, Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, and they need to find a running back that can stay healthy. If that's Jordan Mason, great. I would love for it to be Aaron Jones. I love Aaron Jones, but I don't think he can stay healthy. All right, let's move on. We spent a lot of time on this. I want to move on to my second buy or sell, and this is a fun one. I was sitting on a couch yesterday. And my wife looked over at me, and she said, Shedeur just went in. I said, really? She said, really? I said, really, really? She said, really, really? And about 2 minutes later, I'm watching the Chiefs and the Broncos. My wife's got the Browns and whoever they played. I can't remember who they played. And she says, oh, he just threw a pick. Game's over. I was like, oh, no. Shedeur. Buddy, it's been such a long time coming. You've been waiting, and you've been waiting, and you've been waiting, and you get your opportunity to lead your team down in a clutch moment, and you blew it. You had it in your hands, and you blew it. But I want to tell you, Man Our Nation, that I think I'm going to buy, that Shedeur Sanders will be the quarterback one for the Cleveland Browns for the remainder of the season. Here's why. While he threw that interception to seal the defeat, he showed flashes. He showed poise under pressure, and honestly, what do you have to lose to let this kid sling it? You saw what you could do with Dylan Gabriel. Okay? Let Shedeur eat and let him go to work. Let him go to work. Let Shedeur see what he can do. Let him figure out the offense. Let him show his talent. Because one of two things are going to happen. You're going to find out that Shedeur is just full of hype, hence why he dropped and dropped and dropped. Or you're going to figure out that you did the right thing in drafting Shedeur and you actually got a steal on him and that he's going to be your franchise quarterback. But this is the Cleveland Browns. The Browns do Brown things. Like letting go of Baker Mayfield. Like bringing in massage parlor Deshaun Jackson. Or no, that's not massage parlor, excuse me. Bringing in Deshaun Watson. Bringing in these washed-up quarterbacks like Joe Flacco. The Browns are good at that. You know what they're not good at? Developing young talent. We've seen it for years and years and years. One of the things that the Patriots were great at when Bill Belichick and Tom Brady were around was going to the Cleveland Browns saying, hey, I know you got that guy in the first round, but we'll take him for a 7th. We'll take him for a 6th. We'll take him for half a bag of Cheetos and the belly button lint out of Bill's belly button here. And the Cleveland Browns said, yeah, why not? That seems of value to me. And so they did that. So, Man Hour Nation, are you buying or are you selling that Shedeur Sanders will finish as quarterback 1 for the Browns? I want to hear from you because I think I'm buying it. Let's see what we got. Let's see what we got. James Powell says, as a Raiders fan, my feelings are numb like the Packers in January. That hurt. That one cut real, real deep. Buck said, if you know, we know. He's not horrible. He will be a starter moving forward. He will for the rest of the year and probably for the foreseeable future for the Cleveland Browns. John said, bro is done before he started. Shedeur played scared. I mean, you threw him in last minute under pressure. I mean, he probably was a little nervous. But you need composure. I'll give you that, John. You need composure as an NFL quarterback. You need grit. You need leadership, and you need to get it done. Buck said, scared or unprepped. Good point, Buck. Have the Browns organization. You see this time and time again with teams. Did the Browns set him up for success that when he needed to go in and succeed that he could do it, or did they just kind of throw him in there and say, here's the keys, good luck, I hope you learn how to drive? John said he didn't look in place. Well, John, that means he was unprepped. That means that at the end of the day, he didn't know what he was doing. Buck said if the Browns drafted a franchise quarterback, why draft 3 others? Because it's the Browns. They're clowns, dog. They're clowns. Straight clowns. That's all they know how to do is get something and then put more stuff around it that doesn't make sense. Like, oh, we could get him some weapons, but actually let's draft 3 other guys that can maybe try to push him. Yeah, okay. John Cedar said, Browns mentality, let's pay millions for a massage parlor washed-up quarterback. Exactly. That's what I was saying. I mean, you signed Deshaun Watson when he was under allegations for like 30 sexual misconducts or sexual assaults or whatever it was. Like, you knew. I lost a lot of respect for the Browns organization then because in that contract there was guaranteed money, and I'm like, you're guaranteeing this dude money when he could have done these terrible things. So, lost a lot of respect for them. And then my boy Nick Chubb done snapped his leg in half, looked like some chopsticks out there, and I was like, daggone. Browns ain't got nothing. Buck says the Browns will trade for Geno Smith and Justin Fields. They better not take my boy Justin Fields and put him in the sticks like that. That's a top 10 quarterback. Put some respect on his name. Don't put him in Cleveland. Though some people can't go to Cleveland and survive, like my boy Jameis Winston. Jameis Winston. I was conflicted this Sunday because I love Jameis Winston. But the family here loves Jameis Winston. We love his post-games interviews, and the fact that he was playing my Green Bay Packers, it pained me because I love watching Jameis Winston. James Powell said, sell that Shedeur stuff. His circus will always be a distraction to him living up to Prime's legacy. Agreed. James agreed. I think I don't know if any of you guys watch basketball, But I told my wife it's the same thing that happened with the Ball brothers in basketball. Their dad got in the way, and he hyped them up, and he talked all this talk. And that's there's already so much pressure going into the league. There's always so much pressure already, and your dad's not helping you. And he's exasperating everything to the point where you're sitting there going, dang, I got no chance to be what everybody wants me to be. Buck says, one thing I try to model after are the Lions. They prep all their guys to start. They do. They do. They need to give my boy Hendon Hooker some snaps from the University of Tennessee. James Powell. I'm going to leave you with this I love this. James Powell said, Chris Stapleton should be the only national anthem ever played. Facts. I had a buddy during the Super Bowl, was that last year? It had been 2 years ago. One of the guys I work for, he said he had never heard of Chris Stapleton, which was crazy to me. Who's never heard of Chris Stapleton? And he sang the national anthem, and the dude was like, this dude is amazing. Where'd they find him? And I'm like, bro, it's freaking Chris Stapleton. How do you not know who Chris Stapleton is? All right, let's keep moving along to a topic that I want to hear more from you guys about than I'm going to talk about myself, because I'm conflicted about it. Actually, no, I'm not. I know exactly the answer, and I know exactly what I'm going to tell you. Are the Bears the best team in the NFC North? On paper, they are 7-3. They sit atop the NFC North for now, but it won't last long. I got multiple homies, multiple friends that are Bears fans. My buddy DJ, my buddy Tony, both Bears fans. And there was a really cool moment last year in the last game the Packers had where the Bears beat the Packers. And I wasn't happy for my buddy DJ, but I was happy for his son. His son's been a Bears fan since birth, and his son's 16. And that poor kid's never known what winning is in football because he's a Bears fan. And we sat down during that game, and I hated watching the Packers lose, especially to the Bears. In the last game of the season, I was like, this is stupid. But one thing I did love was his son's happiness. Being able to watch the Bears win a game, and not just a game, but to watch his son just be excited that the Bears beat the Packers. And again, like I told y'all at the beginning of the stream, I am a Packers fan, but I also recognize ball, and ball goes deeper than just winning. And tradition, there's traditions tied to football. There's excitement tied to football. And so when you get to see young fans be excited about something, it just brings joy to your heart. But it also brings joy to my heart to watch him come into places and be upset because the Packers put that whooping down on the Bears. And so are the Bears the best in the North? Yes, they are, but here's why they're not going to be. Because they still have to play the Packers twice. They still have a couple more divisional games apart from that. And we all know that the man-hour Bible says, rule number 4, never be a Bears fan. But rule number 3 is don't ever trust the Bears till December. And man-hour nation, we are at November 17th today. There's still a lot of football to be played before December. A lot of Bears decisions that could be crazy. I'll tell you this. The Bears are getting Jalen Johnson back, one of the best corners in the game. That could be huge for him. But I don't think he's a playmaker in the sense that it propels them like over the top. I think at the end of the day, the Bears will be the best team in the NFC North for 2 more weeks max. Could be 1. I'm trying to think who the Bears play this week. I have no idea who the Bears are playing this week. Let me check. Because if the Bears play anybody good, they may lose this week. The Bears have to go out. They just beat the Vikings, which really, I mean, it's not a statement win. The Bears have to go play the remaining schedule of their season. Are you ready for this, man-hour? The Bears' remaining schedule of their season is as follows. They play versus Pittsburgh at Soldier Field. They play at Philadelphia, at Philadelphia, lost. At Green Bay, Shedeur Sanders. Loss. Probably. That could be the toss-up game. L. At San Fran. L. At Detroit, or versus Detroit. L. The Bears are going to end the season. 7, 8. They may be lucky to win one more game. They'll end the season 8 and, whatever the rest of the losses are. I don't math. Sorry. But at the end of the day, the Bears are the best in the North for this week, maybe next week, but then they go downhill. But I want to hear from you, Man Our Nation. Don't forget, subscribe, hit that like button, and remember, we are live Monday through Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Scratch that, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. YouTube.com/Man Hour. This is a live interactive show, so jump in the comments and share your thoughts. We want to hear from you. But now, I'd like to move on to another segment that we love and we know here, that we know as Fact or Crap, Man Hour.
When there's something strange in the NFL scene, rumors fly wild, what does it mean? You scroll through the feed, it's a clickbait trap. Who you gonna call?
I love that. Little bump, little fun. In those comments, we're going to go back here. It says, Buck said Aaron Rodgers plays with a broken arm and still owns Chicago. That's big facts. If y'all didn't know, they're looking at Aaron Rodgers' wrist, maybe be a broken wrist, may need more procedures, may be done. John said, I don't know, man. I'm still trying to figure out what team the AFC meets the Super Bowl. I done told you this, John. You shouldn't have to guess this, man. It's the Broncos. I told you who's going to the Super Bowl in the AFC. It's the Broncos, hands down. John Cedar said they beaten the Packers once. That's it. I'd agree. They could beat the Packers at Chicago. Other than that, the Packers may sweep them. It's going to be a close game. But Caleb Williams is the real deal. I recognize ball. Roma Dunze is the real deal. I recognize ball. They passed on Tyler Warren. That was a mistake. I'm not saying Colston Loveland's going to be a bust, but he ain't going to be Tyler Warren. Anyways, we are moving on to a segment called Fact or Crap. Let me tell you a little bit about that, and we wrap the show up with this, and here's how it works. I'm going to throw out some so-called facts making the rounds in the NFL world, and together we're going to figure out, are they the real deal, or are they nothing but hot, stinky garbage? We're cutting through the noise, we're breaking down the hype, and deciding what's worth buying into. If it's a fact, we'll call it out. If it's crap, we'll bury it. So, buckle up, grab your snacks, and lock in, because it's time to get real. It's time to see if it's fact or if it's just a whole lot of crap, baby. So let's find out. The first point I want to make is this. And the first question I want to pose to you, Man Our Nation. Fact or crap? Lamar Jackson will never win a Super Bowl with the Baltimore Ravens. It's a big take. Lamar Jackson will never win a Super Bowl with the Baltimore Ravens. And the reason I say this, I'm going to go with crap. Here's why I'm going to go with it. It's crap. The reason I'm going to say it's crap is because Harbaugh is too good of a coach not to get this man a ring. You've got too many good pieces not to get this man a ring. Your defense is mediocre. You're going to have to get some pieces on defense. But on the offensive side of the ball, you've got some real talent. Maybe you're lacking a better receiver than Zay Flowers. Rashad Bateman's been out this year, if I do remember correctly. But you got Lamar Jackson. You got a good offensive line. You've got Mark Andrews. You got Derrick Henry. This is crap. Lamar will win a Super Bowl with the Ravens. He will beat the Chiefs, the Bills, the Broncos, and maybe not this year, but they will get it together. And he will win a Ravens Super Bowl before his time is up in Baltimore. What do you guys think? Man, Our Nation, I want to see in the comments below. We've got Buck says facts. Double facts. John says Bills may be most likely to go to the Super Bowl and the Chiefs. Buck says facts. With Harbaugh as his coach. I told you. Harbaugh will get him a Super Bowl. Harbaugh has had how many years? He has. I'll give you that. He's had plenty of years with Lamar, but they got to give him a weapon, a deep threat weapon. Okay, maybe I shouldn't say deep threat because that boy Zay Flowers is a deep threat weapon. But let's get some people to compliment. Let's get some defense. I never in a million years thought that we would talk about the Ravens needing help at defense. You look at that defense they had with Ray Lewis and Terrell Suggs and Ed Reed, and they was just dogs. They was criminals. They were thugs, man. That's what they were. But, boy, did they go out there and they laid a boom down, and that was awesome. James Powell says, fact, Lamar is the best quarterback in the North, but the playoff, Lamar is too inconsistent. Agreed. It's crazy because you look at quarterback play previously with the Ravens, you got Joe Flacco, who in the regular season was cheeks, but when you put him in the playoffs, he was the MVP every time. And now on the flip side of that, Lamar Jackson regular season is MVP, and then he gets in the playoffs and he's cheeks. So I'm not a Ravens fan. I'm a Lamar fan. I'll give you that. And he's going to win a Super Bowl with the Ravens. And that's a fact, Jack. Second point I want to make in fact or crap is this. Is the fullback a forgotten position in football? Is the fullback a forgotten position in football? I am asking this because I look at teams, and a lot of times now we're lining up our tight ends at the fullback position. And I'm a little old school. I'm a little more ground and pound, and I like a fullback. I think of the days of Alex Ingold. I think about the days of hearing in Green Bay, Kuhn, when John Kuhn would run the ball or get a block. I think of Kyle Juszczyk, and I miss them guys. I mean, I'm glad the tight ends are versatile. I'm glad you can line up linemen back there to do their thing, but is the fullback a forgotten position in football, fact or crap? I want to hear from you because, guys, I think it's fact. The fullback position is dead. It's dying. It's gone. And it makes me sad. Buck said, yes, running back are dumb. John Cedric said, offense will not be able to compete with any of those top AFC teams. Lamar is a bum in the playoffs. He is. Lamar is a bum in the playoffs. He's going to have to figure it out. And if he can't figure it out, then he's going to find his way on out. Or Jim Harbaugh will first, and then Lamar. Because like we talked about before, they need a scapegoat. Mike Allist, a lot, is the best of the best. I know who you're talking about. I can't think of his last name. I know you didn't spell it right. Juszczyk and the Niners. Ricard was the other one I couldn't think of. Thank you, John. Ricard was a dog with the Ravens. He may still be there, right? But I think the fullback is a forgotten position in the football world now. And the last fact or crap I want to give you before we close out tonight's show is this. And again, all three of these are going to be facts for you, boy. Your hostess with the mostest, Shay. But the third and final point for fact or crap is this. Kickers are undervalued. Bottom line, point blank. Will Lutz, I want to go back to the Broncos win over the Kansas City Chiefs. Will Lutz scored 15 of their 22 points by himself. Watching games this week, it was very windy. Brandon McManus has been inconsistent for the Packers. This other kid that we brought in has been inconsistent for us. You look at the Colts situation where their kicker blew out his entire leg the first or second week of the NFL season. Guys, kickers are very valuable. And I'm not saying pay them bags and bags worth of money. But we got to put some respect on the fact that when the game comes down to it, there's a quarterback's job and then there's a kicker's job. And I want to hear from you. What do you think about kickers? I think they are undervalued in this league. Let's see. Allstott is that fullback's name. Yep, that's right. James Powell says nobody runs the power I. Midwest teams run the West Coast because the NFC dominates in the mid-'80s to the mid and late 90s. Yeah, we don't see a lot of that ground and pound anymore. Buck says no winners have fullbacks. That's not the question I posed, Buck. I just asked if it was a forgotten position. I know no winners have fullbacks, but I miss it. I miss the fullbacks. Buck says kickers have no souls and suck. John Cedric said facts. Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Man Hour Nation. As we start to wrap up things for today, let me take a moment to reflect on everything we covered because it's been a wild ride. We talked about the Broncos and how they're going to the Super Bowl. We talked about running backs and how at the end of the day, the running back position needs to get that bag. It's the year of the running backs with Jonathan Taylor and Devon, Achane, Trayveon Henderson. They're all balling out. We talked about how the Giants are going to hire a new head coach this year and who that could be. And we took hot takes and talked about who should tank and who should finish out the season strong. But here's my final thoughts for the day. Keep sleeping on the Broncos. Keep sleeping on them. Because Bo Nix loves it. Sean Payton loves it. And Shea, I love it. Sleep on the Broncos. They're going to the Super Bowl, baby. Guys, thanks for rocking with me today. I hope you have a fantastic night. It's been a great pleasure to be with you guys. Buck will be back here tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Make sure to like and hit that subscribe button, and we will talk with you tomorrow, Man Hour Nation. Stay safe and have a great night.